Kirchhoff's voltage law or Kirchhoff's current law. Suppose you have a circuit like this, nice and plain wires, parallel wires going from one end to other end, and you are asked to find the current in a particular wire, okay? Or else you are asked to find the voltage between any 2 points. So if your circuit is like this, then you can easily find out the current or the voltage, right? Your circuit is very simple. Here you have a wire, okay? It is having some voltage across its ends. You know the resistance of the wire. You can find the current in the wire using Ohm's law. I is equal to V by I, okay? But if your circuit is like this, and can you understand this? This circuit is very complicated circuit, is it not? There are so many wires going in, coming out, they are joined together, they are having different resistances, different voltages and all that. And so if you are asked to find out the current or voltage in any particular um, wire, for example, I ask you to find the current in this particular wire, then it becomes very difficult for you to find the current or the voltage, because you have to find out the total current in this entire setup. Then you have to find the resistances of each. Then you have to subtract this current from all the others, and then only you're going to get the current in this particular resistor, in this particular wire, is it not? So to simplify these things, a person called Thevenin, he developed a theorem. Just like you have theorems in maths, same way you have theorems in physics also. And so he developed a theorem, and that theorem is called as Thevenin's theorem. Okay. So before we go to Thevenin's theorem, let us see what are the important parts of the electrical network. Okay. So if you want to study any circuit, then or an electrical network, then you should know about voltage source. This voltage source can be AC source or DC source. This is the symbol for AC source. Here you have a circle and you have a sine wave inside this circle. This represents a AC source. Okay. Then you can represent a DC voltage source using a battery. One long line, one short line that you have been using all the time. So that is a DC voltage source. Okay. Then you have a current source. So this current source, if it is a DC current source, it is shown by a straight line inside a circle. And if it is a AC current source, then this kind of symbol will be used inside the circle. Okay. So you have voltage sources, AC voltage source and DC voltage source, right? Then you have AC current source and DC current source. Then the other important factor or important component of a electrical circuit is a resistor. Resistor you have been using all the time. It is a device which is going to obstruct the flow of current. That means you can use it to control the level of current or the intensity of the current. Okay. So depending on these bands, you can change the value of the resistor. Means you can use resistors of different values by finding out the values of these bands, and then you can use the particular resistor to increase or decrease the current in a particular circuit. Okay. Then you have diodes. This is a diode. Okay, it's a two-terminal device. Anode. This is anode and this is the cathode. Then you have capacitors. So capacitor, this is the symbol for capacitor. This is called as an electrolytic capacitor because it has a chemical inside this one. This long terminal of the capacitor denotes the positive terminal, while the short short line or the short leg shows the negative terminal. Okay, then you have a inductor. So out of this voltage sources and current sources you have already studied, AC and DC voltage sources, AC and DC current sources. Then these resistor, this resistor, it is called as a passive element or a passive device. Now, what does a passive element mean? It means that the value of this resistance is not going to change the value of the voltage. That means the voltage is going to remain constant, or the energy in the circuit is going to remain constant. That is why it is called as a passive circuit element. Okay. However, if you use capacitor or inductor, then you are going to call it as a active circuit element, because the voltage or the energy which flows through this one is going to affect the total energy in the circuit. So these are called as active circuit elements. Okay. Then you have this diode. Now suppose you take a resistor, this resistor, and you plot a graph between V versus I, that is voltage versus current. Then what will happen? You will get a straight line, is it not? So if you draw this one like this, let me just draw it and show it to you. Where is that? So if I draw a graph like this, I take V here, I take I here, then as I go on changing the voltage, the current will go on changing, and then this, if I find the slope, it is going to be constant throughout. Why? Because this is a straight line, is it not? So V by I is going to remain constant. Okay, but if I use a diode, instead of this, if I use a diode, okay, and if I draw a graph like this, then initially what will happen? As the voltage increases, current will be 0 only till it reaches the threshold voltage, and then it is going to increase like this. Okay, so look at the difference between these two. Here you have got a straight line, here you have got a line which is not straight, is it not? So this diode, this is called as a non-ohmic resistor. Ohmic resistor means what? Ohmic resistor means which follows the Ohm's law, that is V by I is a straight line. Such a device is called as a ohmic resistor. But if V by I is not a straight line, then you call it as a non-ohmic resistor. Okay. So now let us see what are the important definitions. These are usually asked for 2 marks. Voltage source. What is a voltage source? It is a two-terminal device which maintains a fixed voltage across the load. Okay, so whatever is the load, the voltage must be always fixed. For example, you take the mains, there you are going to get how much the voltage? You are going to get 220 volts. Now whether you connect one device or 2 devices or 10 devices, still the voltage remains the same. That is called as voltage source. Okay, so what is constant voltage source? Whatever, how much resistance you apply sorry, how much resistance you apply or how much load you apply, still the voltage does not change. Sometimes you must have seen when you put on the heater and motor and geyser, everything on in your house, then there is a voltage drop, is it not? Then you say the voltage has gone down. So this should not happen. If this does not happen, then such a voltage source is called as constant voltage source. Okay. Similarly, let us see what is a current source. It is exactly complementary of the voltage source. It is a circuit that delivers a current which is independent of voltage across it. Here what happens in voltage source? Whatever is the load resistance, voltage should remain constant. Here, whatever is the uh, this one, what do you call it, voltage across the source, across the load, the current should remain constant. This is called as current source. And what is constant current source? A constant current source is a power source which gives constant current to a load in spite of changes in voltage. Now, instead of 220 volts, if you are getting 240 volts, or if you are getting 180 volts, the current to the load remains the same. It does not change. Such a source is called as constant current source. Okay. Now let us come to Kirchhoff's laws. So yeah, this you have already studied in your second year, Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law. Okay. So let us see what is Kirchhoff's first law. Kirchhoff's first law, it is also called as the current law or the junction law. And then let us see what actually it is. In any closed circuit, the algebraic sum of current entering a node is equal to the total current leaving the node. This can also be stated as the algebraic sum of the currents at any junction is 0. Okay, so this is called as law of conservation of charge. That means charge cannot accumulate at a point. You have to have the total charge at any point or at any node. It should be equal to 0. So this is called as the law of conservation of charge. What does Kirchhoff's voltage law say? It states that in any closed loop network, algebraic sum of all the voltages around a loop is equal to 0. This is called as law of conservation of energy. Okay. I hope you are here with me up till here.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Am I audible or not?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, am I audible or not?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone here? Please let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Okay. So we have seen what is Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law, because these two are very important when you are going to talk about Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem and all the other kinds of theorem. Okay, so we saw that Kirchhoff's first law or the current law or junction law is the law of conservation of charge, while Kirchhoff's voltage law is the law of conservation of energy. Okay. Now, when we talk about Kirchhoff's voltage law or current law, the sign convention is very important. Now, remember here, you're going to use this Kirchhoff's voltage law and current law for solving some problems. And when you solve the problems, you have to take the currents and voltages properly. Otherwise, you're going to get the result wrong. Okay. So, what is the convention? Let us see here. This is your circuit. In this circuit, you have one voltage source here, that is E1. Here you have got one resistance. Okay. This is R2 resistance. Here you have got another voltage source and another resistance. Okay, R1, R2, R3. These are the three resistances, and you have two voltage sources, E1 and E2. Okay, and let us assume this is the direction of current. This is the clockwise direction. That means it is moving in this direction. Okay, and this is current I1. Here you have the current I2 in the same direction. Okay, so now how to find out which voltage we have to take positive and which voltage we have to take negative. Okay, so what is the convention? Let us see. EMF of the cell is taken as positive when direction of motion is from negative terminal to the positive terminal, and the potential differences of the resistances are taken as positive if we move in the direction opposite to the direction of current. Okay, so now see here, this is your negative terminal, this is your positive terminal. Okay, and current we are taking in this direction. Okay, if you take the current is entering from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, so then EMF you have to take this as the see here, EMF of the cell is taken as positive when direction of motion is from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Direction of motion, now we are moving in which direction? From the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, so this direction we have to take as positive, and the potential difference of the resistances are taken as positive if we move in the opposite direction of the current. Now this is for the EMF source, that is the voltage source. But what about this voltage across this resistance? The current is flowing in this direction, correct? Current is flowing from the lower end to the upper end like this. Then potential difference of resistances are taken as positive if we move in the opposite direction to the current. Current is going like this, then voltage drop across this resistance, that is I1 R1, you have to take as negative. Okay, this will be positive, this will be negative. So this is very important, you have to understand this properly. Let us go to the second loop. Here current is in this direction, it is going from negative to positive. So E2 will be positive, this EMF will be positive. And what about the direction of current? Current is in this direction, correct? Current is in this direction, that means I2 R3, I1 minus I2 into R3, you have to take it as negative. Okay, so this is for the voltage law. For the current law, let us see what is the convention. In going around a loop, if we traverse a resistor in the direction of current, potential difference is taken as negative. Same thing what I told you here, same thing. IR, if it is moving in this direction, if the current is flowing in this direction, then the voltage will be opposite. So you have to take minus VR. IC, the IC is the current through the capacitor, then the voltage will be minus VC. If the current through the inductor is IL, then voltage will be minus VL. So these sign conventions are very, very important.
Ma'am.
So let us come to Thevenin's theorem now. Now, according to this theorem, any linear network, any linear electrical network or complicated circuit with current and voltage sources can be replaced by an equivalent circuit consisting of a single voltage source VTH in series with a resistance RTH, where VTH is the Thevenin voltage and RTH is the Thevenin resistance. Okay, so here according to this theorem, as I told you, you can simplify any circuit by using Thevenin's theorem. Any complicated circuit you take out the this one, what do you call it, circuit in your laptop or your TV or your computer, whatever it is, and you want to find out the current or a voltage in a sorry, in a particular element or in a particular wire, then you can make use of this theorem, which is called as Thevenin's theorem. And what does it say? All the complicated networks or the circuits can be replaced by a single voltage source VTH in series with a resistance RTH. Now this is very, very important. What is important here? Single voltage source VTH in where did it go? In series with the voltage VTH in series with the resistance RTH. Okay, so this word is very, very important. Voltage source VTH in series with a resistance RTH. So any complicated network can be replaced by a single voltage source VTH in series with a resistance RTH. Okay, so this is what Thevenin's theorem tells you. Now let us see how to analyze a circuit using Thevenin's theorem. So usually this is a what do you call it? Sometimes this question is asked as state and explain Thevenin's theorem, or else you are given a problem and you are asked to calculate the Thevenin voltage VTH and Thevenin resistance RTH, or you are given a load resistance RL like this, and you are asked to calculate IL and VL. What is IL? IL is the current through the load, that is RL, and VL is the voltage between the points A and B. Okay. So here, this is your circuit. Let me explain the circuit to you first. So in this circuit, you have a voltage source V in. This is your voltage source V in. Okay. Here you have three resistances R1, R2 and R3. Okay. So now I am using resistance here. You can have a impedance also. What is the impedance? You can have a resistor, you can have a capacitor, or you can have an inductor. Okay. So if you are having capacitor or inductor, then you have to write Z1, Z2 and Z3 because you represent the impedance by Z. Is it not? If you are having only resistors, then you can directly write it as R1, R2 and R3. Okay, and these are the EMF sources, that is V in. There is only one EMF source, V in. Here you have the positive terminal, here you have the negative terminal. This is R1 resistance, R2 and R3. Okay, now if you look at this circuit, so total how many resistors are there? R1, R2, R3 and RL. So in this circuit, there are 4 resistors, but what we are going to do? We are going to neglect this RL and we are going to keep it till the end like that only, because we are going to find the load current and load voltage. Okay, so between the points A and B, if you remove these 2 points, then this RL will be disconnected. Okay, so in this circuit, you are going to have only 3 resistors, R1, R2 and R3, and 1 EMF source, that is V in. Okay, and if you look at this circuit, then how many loops you are having? You are having 2 loops. This is loop 1 where the current will be flowing like this. Okay, from the negative terminal like this, and then back to R3. Okay, and in loop 2 again you'll be having a current which is flowing in the clockwise direction. Okay, so this is your basic circuit which is given to you. You have one EMF source V in, you have 3 resistors R1, R2 and R3 in the circuit, and you are asked to find out the voltage and current in the load RL. Okay, so let us find out how to do this. The first step for that is open the load resistor RL. Open the load resistor RL means what? This circuit you have taken and you have disconnected RL from the points A and B. Okay, so here nothing is there now. Now these are open points. These are not connected. Okay, so this is the first step. Open the load resistor RL. What is the next step? Calculate, measure the open circuit voltage. That means we have to find VTH. How to find the Thevenin's voltage VTH? So we have already removed the load resistor RL. Then we have to calculate the current I in the first loop. Now this is open, so there is no current flowing in the second loop. Only in the first loop the current is flowing. So here what do you have? You have to find the current. How do you find the current? You have one EMF source V in and you have 2 resistors R1 and R3. Okay, so simple Ohm's law you can use here. R1 plus R3 is the total resistance in loop 1. V in is the EMF or the voltage. Then current is given by V in by R1 plus R3. Correct? So current I is equal to V in by R1 plus R3. Since RL is removed, no current will flow through R2. So VTH, that is the voltage across these 2 points, will be the same as voltage across these 2 points. That is current I into the resistance R3. So what have we found out? We have found out the voltage VTH, that is equal to I into R3. Okay. Then the third point is to calculate Thevenin's resistance RTH. We have calculated VTH. Now let us calculate RTH. Okay. So how to calculate RTH? We take the same circuit where we have removed the load resistance, and then what we do? We short the voltage source. Here you have the voltage source, is it not? So you remove the voltage source and connect these 2 points. This is called as shorting the 2 points. If it is a voltage source, you have to short it. If it is a current source, then you have to open it. How we opened A and B, same way you'll have to open these 2 points. Then you have to calculate RTH. Now see, when you are calculating the resistance, so now look in loop 1. In loop 1, you have 2 resistors R1 and R3, and both of them are connected parallel to. Then what is their equivalent resistance? R1 R3 divided by R1 plus R3. Then this combination is connected in series with R2. So the Thevenin's resistance will be given by R1 parallel R3 plus R2, that is R1 R3 divided by R1 plus R3 plus R2. Okay. So load, now what have we done? We have found the Thevenin voltage, that is VTH, I into R3. We have found out the Thevenin resistance, that is R1 R3 divided by R1 plus R3 plus R2. So now what do? This entire complicated circuit, we are going to replace by a single voltage source VTH and single resistance RTH in series with the voltage source. Where we are going to connect that, we are going to replace this entire circuit V in R1, R2, R3, that is between the points A and B. We are going to connect only one voltage source VTH and one resistance RTH. Okay, so let us see how the circuit looks now. Now see, look at the circuit. It looks so simple. This is your voltage source VTH. This is your Thevenin resistance RTH. And we have connected this between the points A and B. Now again, you join the load resistance RL. Okay. So now calculating the load voltage and load resistance becomes so very simple. In this circuit, you have VTH voltage. The total resistance here is RTH plus RL. So load current will be VTH divided by RTH plus RL. Okay. So if you know the load current IL, then you can find the load voltage also. That is IL into RL. Okay. This current into resistance will give you the load voltage, and that is what we wanted to find, is it not? What was our aim? Our aim was to calculate the load current and load voltage using Thevenin's theorem. Okay, so this is how you can simplify a complicated circuit and find the load current and load voltage, as well as find the Thevenin resistance and the Thevenin voltage. Okay, so now let us see if we can solve some problem based on this one. Any doubts still here? Because if you don't understand this properly, you won't be able to solve the problems. Okay, or maybe when we solve the problem, it will be more easier for you. Yes? Anything which you have not followed? Now please copy down this problem. Calculate VTH, RTH, load current IL and load voltage VL using Thevenin's theorem for the circuit given below. Okay, so we are using the same circuit here. Here it is given V in equal to 48 volts. R1 is 12 kilo ohms. R2 is 8 kilo ohms and R3 is 4 kilo ohms. Okay, kilo ohms means what? Kilo ohms means into 10 to the power 3. Okay, so everywhere it is kilo only, so it's not going to be difficult. And then RL I think we are not mentioned here. RL is 5 kilo ohms. Okay, so please note down this problem. V in is 48 volts, R1 is 12 kilo ohms, R2 is 8 kilo ohms, R3 is 4 kilo ohms, and RL is 5 kilo ohms. Please note down this one. RL is 5 kilo ohms. Okay.